What would happen if Earth suddenly stopped spinning? Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and discovering that the Earth has stopped spinning. The sun never rises. The air outside begins to roar louder than any storm you've ever heard. Oceans start moving across entire continents. Buildings collapse. Forests are flattened. And within minutes, civilization changes forever. It sounds like the plot of a science fiction movie, but the laws of physics allow us to predict what would happen with surprising accuracy. Today, we'll explore one of the most terrifying what-if scenarios imaginable. What if Earth suddenly stopped spinning? Earth's hidden speed. At first glance, Earth appears completely still. But that's only because everything around us is moving together. At the equator, our planet rotates at about 1,670 kilometers per hour, or roughly 1,040 miles per hour. That's faster than the cruising speed of most commercial airplanes. Even if you live farther north or south, you're still moving at hundreds of kilometers per hour without ever noticing it. Every tree, every building, every ocean, every cloud, every bird, and every person shares the same motion. It's similar to sitting inside a smooth-moving train. As long as the train keeps moving at a constant speed, you don't feel the motion. The real danger comes if the train suddenly slams on the brakes. Now imagine the same thing happening to an entire planet. The first second. If Earth stopped spinning instantly, the ground beneath your feet would stop. But you wouldn't. Everything not firmly attached to bedrock would continue moving eastward at its original speed. Cars would become projectiles. Buildings would tear apart. Trees would snap like matchsticks. People would be thrown through the air at incredible speeds. Very little would survive those first moments. But the land wouldn't be the only thing still moving. The atmosphere would continue racing around the planet at over 1,000 miles per hour. That would create winds unlike anything humanity has ever experienced. The strongest hurricanes ever recorded produce winds of around 300 kilometers per hour. These winds would exceed 1,600 kilometers per hour in some regions. Entire cities would be stripped down to their foundations. Dust, rocks, vehicles, and debris would become deadly airborne missiles. Even mountains would experience erosion at unbelievable speeds. The first few minutes alone would likely become the deadliest natural disaster in Earth's history. Oceans on the move. The oceans possess enormous momentum. Just like the atmosphere, they wouldn't stop instantly. Instead, trillions of tons of seawater would continue moving eastward. Gigantic waves, far larger than any tsunami ever recorded, would sweep across coastlines. Many of the world's largest cities, including New York, Tokyo, Shanghai, Mumbai, Rio de Janeiro, and Sydney, would face overwhelming destruction. Entire regions could disappear beneath walls of water hundreds of meters high. Ships would be thrown inland. Ports would vanish. Islands could be completely reshaped. Even inland areas would not be safe as rivers overflowed and floodwaters spread across vast distances. A planet without normal days. Suppose somehow humanity survived the initial catastrophe. Life afterward would be completely different. Earth would still orbit the sun once every year. Without its daily rotation, one complete day would last an entire year. That means approximately 6 months of continuous daylight followed by 6 months of darkness. During the endless daytime, temperatures could soar high enough to dry lakes and damage ecosystems. During the endless night, temperatures would plunge far below freezing. Agriculture would become nearly impossible across much of the planet. Plants depend on regular day-night cycles. Animals have evolved around daily rhythms. Human civilization would need to adapt to conditions never experienced before. Many scientists believe the most habitable regions would exist near the boundary between permanent daylight and permanent darkness, a constantly shifting twilight zone. Earth's shape would slowly change. Earth isn't actually a perfect sphere. Because it spins, the planet bulges slightly around the equator. The diameter at the equator is about 43 kilometers larger than the distance from pole to pole. Without rotation, gravity would slowly pull Earth into a more perfect sphere. This wouldn't happen overnight. It would take thousands or even millions of years. But over time, coastlines would change. Sea levels would shift. Some regions would become flooded, while others would emerge from the oceans. Maps of the future Earth would look dramatically different from today's. What about gravity? Many people believe we'd suddenly feel much heavier. That's only partly true. Earth's rotation creates a small outward force that slightly reduces gravity near the equator. Without that effect, everyone would weigh a tiny bit more. For an average adult, the increase would only be around 0.5%. You probably wouldn't notice it in everyday life. The catastrophic destruction would come from inertia, not from stronger gravity. Would Earth's magnetic field disappear? Earth's magnetic field protects us from harmful charged particles coming from the sun. It's generated deep inside the planet by the movement of molten iron within the outer core. Stopping Earth's surface wouldn't necessarily stop the core immediately. However, if the processes responsible for generating the magnetic field weakened over time, our planet could gradually lose one of its greatest natural shields. Without it, satellites would be exposed to increased radiation. Power grids could become more vulnerable to solar storms. Long-term exposure to cosmic radiation would become a growing challenge for life on Earth. Could this actually happen? The good news is that this scenario is almost impossible. There is no known natural process capable of stopping Earth's rotation instantly. Over billions of years, Earth's rotation is slowing down very gradually because of the Moon's gravitational pull. Each century, the length of a day increases by only a tiny fraction of a second. At that pace, it would take billions of years for any major change to occur. So, while Earth's spin is slowly changing, it's happening so gradually that humanity will never notice it. Conclusion: Earth's rotation is something we rarely think about, yet it quietly shapes nearly every aspect of life on our planet. From weather and climate to oceans, ecosystems, and even the length of our days. If that motion suddenly stopped, the immediate destruction would be almost beyond imagination. The powerful winds, massive tsunamis, and collapsing infrastructure would transform the world within hours. And even if life somehow survived, humanity would face a completely new planet with year-long days, extreme temperatures, and an environment unlike anything we've ever known. Thankfully, this remains only a fascinating thought experiment, and one that reminds us just how perfectly balanced our planet truly is. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe,